even people who liked Obama to begin with and might still like Obama, he wasn't quite what we anticipated. At best, he's sort of a watered down and lamer version of Bill Clinton. At worst, he's basically a continuation of George W. Bush. So, yeah. I mean, like I said, I voted for him again in 2012, but it wasn't with the excitement and the enthusiasm of 2008. It was more along the lines of, well, I don't want Romney, so I guess I'm going with Obama. And that's pretty much how that worked out. And I am happy that Mitt Romney is not president, because I think life would just suck a little bit more if he was. I'm sure there are people who disagree with that. I mean, I've talked to people who pretty much had the opposite view, who said, well, I don't like Mitt Romney very much at all, but Obama is just so bad that I'm going to vote for Romney instead. Which, the thing is, we have a cycle in America, a song and dance, which pretty much goes, vote in the Democrat fucks up, we vote in the Republican fucks up, we vote in the Democrat. And around we go, getting nowhere. It's kind of sad. And I've probably said this before, and it's probably a broken record, but the main purpose of each party at this point seems to be undoing whatever it was the last party tried to do. And, while there are certainly things that are worth undoing, it's just like any progress that anyone tries to make is erased by the next party. And I find that to be very disappointing. I mean, we are basically stuck in an economic mode that suits the technology level of the 1930s and doesn't take into account modern technological reality. And that is a problem. At one point, I am going to talk about how I think that, as much as lowering the minimum wage is nice, the thing that will help even more than that is reducing working hours below the standard 40 hours a week. And that might seem counterintuitive, but actually that can be quite stimulative. But like I said, I'm just going to sort of leave you with a teaser for that I will talk about that at some point. Because at this very moment, I don't quite have the mental fortitude to talk about that right now. I mean, that's something I sort of have to prepare for, in a way, which I have no problem doing, I'd rather, leave you guessing and come back later with a thought-out thing than sort of, mumble and grumble and sort of just mess it all up and not prove my point, because this is a point that I don't see a lot of people making, and I think it's just because it honestly hasn't occurred to most people. And this would be a great topic to talk about on my political channel if I was to make one. I think that could be quite popular, because I have it worked out pretty logically. It's like, well, if we believe this, then doesn't that naturally follow? And that kind of thing. Rather than just sort of being dogmatic about things. And since it is, logically thought out, it can also be disagreed with, which is actually, believe it or not, a good thing, because a lot of people who just have dogmatic ideas that they slam over people's heads, like, government's bad, we need less government, or, something like that. I mean, that's sort of just like a dogmatic statement it's not really a qualitative argument, and you really can't argue for or against it. But my idea can actually be, argued for or against, and I'll be looking forward to seeing what kind of counter-arguments pop up and possibly rebutting them, although, there is the chance that somebody might come up with a counter-argument that's so compelling that I say, gee, you know what? I was wrong about this. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I'm the kind of person who is not too proud to say I was wrong. I've been wrong many times before. I once thought that communism was the ideal form of government, and that not only that, but it was actually practical and workable for us, which of course is silly, and I was only 16 when I thought that, so you can't be too hard on me. But yeah, I was definitely mistaken about that, I believe. I mean, I'm sure there's at least some neo-communist out there who are like, no, you were on the right path and then you fell off the bandwagon. How sad. But sorry, folks, to this point, I have to disagree with you. Oh, man. But yes, my political philosophy, if I was to make one, would be a bit of taking things from different things and putting them together. So, yeah, it would be definitely fun to have more political chit-chats in the future. So, that being said, I have also been thinking about what sort of other concept cities I have, and I know I've talked about this in the past, but I have decided on 3 that I will definitely do. One will be, as I've said, a max population city, and the other 2 come from suggestions that you have given me in my last videos. Someone suggested that I make an industrial city, and that makes a lot of sense, because if I'm making a max population city, I'm going to need somewhere for everyone to have jobs, and it's certainly going to be hard to cram them all in there with the jobs, and, logically thinking about it, the more industrial I put in, the less room there is for more residents. So I am going to have an industrial city that directly is next to the residentially dominated max population city, which will have a commercial core. Somebody said make a ghetto, which I think is very funny, but believe me, this city is probably going to be a ghetto, so that probably covers it. I mean, I'm going to try to make it nice if I can, but let's be honest here, it's going to mostly be low wealth, mostly going to be tenements. And the other city I had in mind to make was another suggestion, and it was the person who said make a Venice-type city. And I just love the idea of doing that so much that I am going to do it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to do that, and I will try to find and download the Canal add-on mod and see what I can do with that, because that sounds fun. And as far as the size of cities, the max population city, needless to say, is going to be on a large square, such as this, whereas the Venice city and the industrial city, I think, will be on medium squares, because, knowing what I know about mods from watching Dwyron, derp around with things like the Real Highway mod, which I refuse to touch. Looks too utterly terrifying to even contemplate using. There's a lot of stuff that you have to click one tile by one tile, and that would be a bitch to do over an entire large city. So I am thinking medium-sized city would probably be good. And anyway, what am I saying? Venice isn't that huge of a city from what I understand, so it would make sense for it to be on a size that is not necessarily the most maximum size. And after I fill in this corner, I am going to pump the water into it, because people like water. Water helps our city grow. It's a true statement. Can't deny it. I'm going to put another farm in here. Oh yeah, garbage. Landfills are not happy looking, but we are going to have to make one. Well, we already have an industrial area over here, so I am thinking we are going to make a landfill over here. And I know I can do other things, and Dwyron loves to tell me about the hint of making a waste energy plant and defunding it, but something tells me look at their power situation. I think we're okay for now. But yeah, he likes telling me about the trick of defunding a waste energy plant. But a low-density city like this would have a dump, I think. It's just the nature of things. And we are getting some development. So yay for that. Alright. And very intentionally not making things square and boring, because we're not making this organic style in the strictest sense of the word, but I'm making it something that would not be, would not arise from an organic style, if that makes sense. So, have our lovely little road here. Oh man, and I want to give a shout out to my forum bro, Caught in the Shadows, who has, to my great surprise, recently put out a Cities XL video. And it's going to be one of 3 according to the little title thing. And I want all of you to go over there and give him some love. Because Cat, as you guys should know, we'll possibly keep that in mind for later, but as you know, Cat is total bro, and we all love Cat, and I want all of you to go over there, give his video a like, and just comment on how lovely you think his city is, if you think it's lovely, which of course you do, because it's freaking Cat. He's a perfectionist who will agonize for hours over a yard or something, or over, well, a yard, I'm talking about Sims 3. He will agonize over the details there, he'll agonize over details in SimCity, and when you agonize over that for that long, the results do show. I mean, you thought Dwyron was a perfectionist? He's practically a Mr. Random Pants compared to Cat. Oh, we do need another power plant. I thought we were fine. Okay. I am going to continue my pledge to make sure we have enough money, and also have just natural gas. Oh man. People who don't like my political style might say that my talking is the natural gas that is powering the city. if they were clever enough to say that, I would very much lol at that implication. Alright. So there we go. I love these, how I have the zones set up. It's pretty rad. It's pretty clad and rad, you know. We wear rad. Dude, that, I don't know why that wasn't a thing. Like, if somebody was dressed up in a way that was, quote, rad, no one ever said, dude, that guy's clad and rad, bro. Because that would totally be a thing that should have been said. But yeah, what I want you to do, ladies and gentlemen, is